So stepping into our mindfulness space, taking that moment to just call yourself present, taking a breath, a couple breaths. Just settling in for a minute. Everything can wait. I'm just here right now. And so today, talking some more about my favorite of all favorite topics, judgment, non-judgment, the one I keep coming back to and playing with. And really coming at it from a place of play. You know, it's like when we're holding judgment, holding something that's concrete, we're holding a fixed idea of how things should be. We're attached to an outcome. It's like, this has to be this way. I have to do it this way. I need to do that. It should be this. You know, it's like, I've got a picture of how things should be, and it has to look like this picture. And play just isn't that way. Play is kind of like, oh yeah, let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's see what happens. Who knows? It could go really, really badly, or it could be really, really fun. But it's a letting go of the outcome. It's just that I'm going to be here in the moment. I'm going to be in the process. I'm just going to be doing it. And whatever happens, happens. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, you know, sometimes it's like, we have a picture in my mind, or I'll have a picture of like, oh, this is the way it should be. I have a picture. It's like, this is my picture of fool's gold. And I'm like, I want gems. I want some shiny rocks. And so like life gives me a sapphire and I'm like, nope, doesn't match the picture. Or, you know, like go along and it's like, okay, well, here's a ruby then. I'm like, nope, doesn't match the picture. You know, this is the way it should be. It should look like this picture. And I'm so attached to the way something should be that I miss what I actually have. And I'm having more and more experiences here where it's like, oh yeah, this is making sense. Even something that I normally would not say, oh yeah, that's exactly what I want. Yeah, pain, yay, thumbs up. That's exactly what I'm asking for. And yet, there is something about being able to take that play, the experimenting, that's like, I have no idea where this is going. I have no idea if it's going to be good or bad or not. That actually does change what I'm experiencing. And it gives me this gem of intimacy with myself. And for me, it's like that kind of trumps everything. It's like this sense of intimacy. It's just like utter intimacy. And somehow being able to let go of outcomes, to just play with what is, opens me up to have that experience of really deep intimacy. But again, you know, if you're like holding an image of like, no, this is what intimacy looks like, you might miss it. You might miss what that actually feels like in your body, in your experience. And so here today, we want to play. We want to just practice playing and truly let go of any expectations, outcomes. It should be a particular way. It should look a particular way. You don't need to get anything out of your practice today. You don't need to learn anything. Learning is so boring. You know, we're just playing. You know, there's nothing to actually take with you. Just play. And so we're going to just play with breath. You know, I'll invite you to play with breathing differently than you normally do. Play with sitting differently than you normally do. You know, if you're normally really good in your posture, maybe you should slouch a little bit. You know, or if you're normally just laid back and relaxed, maybe you can stand up. Play. We're just going to play. That's all there is to it. And really with that idea, there's no particular outcome here. There's nothing to gain, nothing to really like, oh yes, I've got to get it. No, we're just playing. That's all there is to it. Just kids playing. And so with that, we'll go ahead and start practicing. So I'm going to close my eyes, but you might even practice keeping your eyes open, or maybe looking at one particular thing. Maybe you practice this whole practice just staring at some little design on the wall. It's completely up to you how you even want to start. And noticing your breath. Sometimes it can be fun to just take a deep breath and really feel it fill your lungs and letting it go. You can move your shoulders. You don't have to sit stiffly. You don't have to sit properly. You don't have to keep your back straight unless you want to. You can slouch, you can lean up against a chair, you can wiggle, you can move. Giving yourself permission to just experiment, play, feel, do something different. Breathe a little bit differently than you would normally breathe. Normally, as I start, I have a slow inhale and a slow exhale, all through the nose, very even and measured and paced. But if you normally breathe through your nose, maybe practice breathing through your mouth. Like, what does it feel like to just inhale and exhale just from your mouth? I almost get that little jolt of like, wait, something's wrong. I'm like, there's just a little tiny kind of jiggle in there of like, nope, you got to close your mouth. Noticing, what is it like just breathing in and out of your mouth? Even as I say it, I close my mouth and want to breathe through my nose. It's so automatic. I have to like really pause and convince my mouth to open to breathe. And then maybe practicing breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. How does that feel? And then maybe breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Maybe you notice something different, maybe you don't. But just playing, experimenting, noticing them side by side. It's like, do you notice a different feeling in your body between inhaling and exhaling just through your nose versus just through your mouth? I notice for myself that everything inside feels quiet if I breathe only through my nose. And everything feels a little bit more alive or bubbly or active, breathing all the way through my mouth. That might be very different for you. Maybe even playing with noticing where you feel the sensations, going back and forth and playing. It's like, do you notice a change in the way you think? Do you notice something that you feel in your body? Is there a particular emotion that comes up? Breathing these two different ways. I know it's much easier for me to tap into that playful side, breathing just through my mouth. And maybe that's just conditioning. Maybe it's something about the breath. Who knows? I just notice it. I don't have to understand why or what it means. Because again, that takes away from play. That's boring. Just noticing. Just noticing a particular feeling, breathing one way. Maybe a different feeling, breathing just through the nose. And then if you notice that your body has gotten still or settled as you're breathing, maybe shake it up a little bit, wiggle. It's like move your arms, move your shoulders, move your body, move your hips, move your legs. It's almost that sense of like, no, 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 we're not going to get too settled just yet. We're playing. We're not dropping down and deep and into a long, silent meditation. We're just sensing, playing. It's like, what does it feel like to stay right at that edge of playing and experimenting, moving, changing? There might even be a little stulter of just like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to move. That's off the script. And so just noticing that. Or there might be that, oh, thank God I don't have to sit still. Yes, I can move. I can wiggle my toes. I can wiggle my fingers. This feels good. It feels good to be able to wiggle and move and feel the muscles moving. Maybe just seeing if there's a way that your body does want to move. Does it want to stretch? Does it want to rock? Does it want to sit really still? Do your fingers want to tap? Or your feet kind of move or bounce up and down? What does your body want? Maybe let it do it. Give it to it. Give your body what it wants right now. How does it want to move? How does it want to just shift around? Or maybe it wants to just get really, really still. And then again, just kind of that peeking off to the side of noticing. What is it like to kind of go off script? To sit a little differently, to move a little bit differently. Just noticing how the mind wants to react to that. You can just smile and nod at it. It doesn't have to be any particular way. There doesn't have to be any particular kind of reaction. It can feel really awkward. You're like, cool, awkwardness is here. Or it could be really free. You're like, cool, freedom is here. Whatever the reaction, it's all welcome. And so noticing your body, how it wants to move. And then maybe playing with where you're breathing into your lungs. Now we have 3 different levels of our lungs, 3 different lobes on each side. You can breathe way into the top of your chest, right there under your collarbone. Or you can breathe into the middle part of your lungs, that area around your sternum, under your arms. Or you can breathe all the way down to the very bottom part of your lungs, way down there by your bottom ribs, into your low back. You might even have to curl forward a little bit to really breathe down into that low back. And you can even play a game. Like, can you breathe all the way down to that low back without filling the top of your lungs? And of course, as you're playing and breathing and changing your breathing pattern, if you notice you're getting dizzy, you just stop. You just pay attention. You're like, oh, okay. Body says it has way too much oxygen right now. Maybe I'll just sit here and not breathe for a minute. Then maybe seeing if you can breathe down into the lower part of your lungs, and then fill the middle part of your lungs, but not all the way to the top. Can you fill to about 2/3? Like, what does it feel like to bring your lungs to about 2/3 fullness? And you can feel the stretch in your middle back and your low back. And you can even play and see what does it feel like if you do that with your mouth open versus mouth closed. It's like, that feels a little weird. There's that little part of my body that just wants to shiver and go like, oh no, that kind of pulls weird. That's different. And sometimes different and weird can be interesting. And sometimes it can just be uncomfortable. And sometimes you just play with, uncomfortable, interesting, weird. It's just all here. You can even play with the pacing of your breath. Like, what happens if you take a long inhale and a really short exhale? And again, just paying attention. If you start to get a little bit of that dizzy feeling or tingling in your fingers, it's your body telling you that you're getting lots of oxygen, and just to kind of pause for a minute. So really, really noticing your body as you play. Sometimes it can even be fun. Like, take it all the way to the edge where the fingers start to tingle and you're like, oh, all right, body's starting to hyperventilate. I can feel it. So now I'm just going to not breathe for a minute. And you can watch the tingling disappear. Watch everything kind of calm back out. And notice that there's no desire to even breathe for a long time. And it's so cool how our bodies just communicate their needs to us. And you might experiment with taking a short inhale and a really long exhale. How does that feel different? Just playing, just noticing. Again, noticing the differences in the physical sensations, noticing the differences in the way the thoughts come and go. Noticing what emotion might be present, just playing with breath. You can even feel into the sides, like what happens if you breathe into just the left side. Like really opening up the left side, kind of bending over to the right. And maybe the other direction, whether one side feels better than the other side. I notice I start holding more tension on my right when I do that. I'm like, oh, all right. Interesting. And then again, almost like shaking it off, wiggling it off. You've been playing with your breath. You've been sitting here. Almost that like dog, just shaking it off, shaking the water off. And then just sitting, noticing. What is it like to just be here? There's nothing you should do. There's nothing you should feel. There's nothing right or wrong. You get to just sit however you want to sit. Just sitting. Noticing how the thoughts want to be, where they want to go or not go. You don't have to do anything. Just giving your body that permission. This right here. I notice for myself that the longer I sit here, this desire to play, that mischievous side comes out. It's like I almost have that desire to just go boo, to laugh, to giggle. And who knows, maybe it's neither right or wrong to feel a little mischievous. Even during meditation, and doing a quick check through your body, just noticing your sensations, noticing your breath, noticing where you are right here in this moment. Maybe a deep sigh, couple deep sighs, just breathing. Taking a few more breaths. And when you feel ready, opening your eyes.